Hi there, Spencer. Thank you so much for reaching out for a reading. Things have been pretty crazy for me here. I just got a new place and have been moving in for the last couple weeks and finally just getting settled. If you hear any weird noises in the background, forgive me, it's just my pets. I got a new kitten, so he's been kind of a crazy one. Anyhow, I'm just shuffling the cards now, kind of getting the energies all worked out here for your reading. I am really sorry about this friend of yours. I think her name was Sam. I just kind of read over everything that you sent me very quickly, so I could get started on this. I guess initially I just feel a lot of heaviness. Sorry, I just got a message from you, so I'm trying to read it here. I just feel a lot of heaviness kind of on both sides. It feels like you're both definitely very upset about how things have gone. And I know with the craziness of life, just everything going on, energies of the world today, it can put a lot of strain and a lot of stress on our personal relationships and on our personal friendships. So that's really hard. Especially when other people's energies get involved, like you mentioning all of her friends and stuff kind of acting a certain way to you. I know that can be really hurtful and can also put a lot of stress on a friendship. It does feel like you both want to work things out, is what I get, just kind of right off the bat. But also, it's kind of just seems like it's going to be a lot of work. And I think what we want to find out here is sort of what kind of work do you need to put into this relationship, or if it would be better to just kind of cut your losses. Definitely, I think giving it some time. Oh, you just said that she thinks that you're making up your stomach issues. I'm sorry that you've been having health problems too, on top of all of this other kind of nonsense that's going on. Gosh, yeah, I really hope we can kind of get some answers here for you. But I guess at the end of the day, I would say some time apart is definitely needed, some space, which it sounds like there has been some. But this also sounds like something, oh, and you have going on within his family matters. Okay, so, yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of background kind of trouble going on that has nothing to do with your guys' friendship, but that has taken a toll on the friendship. Okay, I've spent 3 minutes kind of rambling on there. So let's just get into it. Kind of just see what the cards have to say. There are some cards that keep coming up, oh gosh, backwards in here. My deck is really kind of going crazy right now. All right, we have the Three of Swords first and foremost that I pulled out. So what this tells me is that there's actually a lot of heartbreak and a lot of, and heartbreak isn't just for romantic relationships. Heartbreak, can be for friendships too. And, wow, okay. So when I pull this Three of Swords, I just see that it's very clear that this is really upsetting you. And honestly, it kind of seems like a two-sided thing where both of you are really upset about what has transpired and what has been going on within the friendship. So when I see the Three of Swords, it just tells me that there's a lot of multiple party situations going on where, like, you were talking about your boyfriend being involved. I think that's been kind of hurtful for her, thinking that you're inviting him to your guys' hangouts and stuff like that. Even if that's not the case, I sense a little bit of kind of like jealousy or saltiness, or kind of her thinking that you are putting other people over your guys' friendship, which sometimes you have to do that. And, truthfully, you are the person that comes first. So the things that you're dealing with, your health issues, other issues within your own life and your partner's life, those things do take precedence. But what I see from this is that there have been other parties involved that have been really hurtful. So this could definitely also be kind of referring to the friends of hers at the little birthday at the cabin that you guys did. It sounds like the way her friends treated you also was really hurtful for you. And that definitely was something that took a toll on the friendship in the long run. The issues that you guys are having now, or the sort of big blowing up that has happened or that is currently happening, had a lot to do with third parties and other parties involved, and it wasn't just you two. There was a lot of other energies and a lot of other problems going on in the background with other people. And what this card tells me is that, but also that it's been very hurtful for the both of you, which is a bummer. I'm really sorry about that. Next, I have the Justice card here. So what the Justice card tells me is that there's just some sort of injustice going on right now where you both are feeling like you've been treated unfairly within the situation. I'm sorry, I'm just going to try and move this real quick. Yeah, so you're both kind of feeling like you've been treated unfairly in the situation. You're both kind of feeling like there have been some, not only miscommunications, but misrepresentations of what you're both feeling and who you both are. So when I see this Justice card, I see that there is some sort of justice that needs to be made, some sort of peace that needs to be kind of brought to, or some sort of understanding that you guys need to come to, which I'm not saying yet that I'm seeing that you should take any action. I'm just sort of reading the situation. But these two cards together just tell me that there's been a lot of hurt involved in this situation, and also a lot of imbalance as far as, both feeling like you're putting in the same amount of effort, which there will be times in all of our friendships and relationships where sometimes we'll be putting in more effort than the other party, and sometimes the other party will be putting in more effort. And that kind of just fluctuates and eventually, hopefully, balances out in the long run. But it feels like right now that imbalance is definitely causing you both a lot of stress and a lot of tension and a lot of hurt. So it kind of, what the energy I'm getting is, it feels like you've been putting in a lot of effort with sending a lot of messages and reaching out a lot, and that she has been not responding to that or not getting back to you. But it also feels like she is going through so much that it feels like maybe to her these kind of small gestures and text messages are a little arbitrary. And it feels like this injustice is coming from a sense of her really wanting you to show up and kind of be that person that's like, hey, you know what, I care about this friendship. I want to make this work. I want to be there for you. But I know that can be really hard. So I'm definitely not saying that you are not trying hard enough, because I don't know that. But from what I'm getting from the energies with the Three of Cups here also, which is just a lot about the heart and a lot about emotions. And, these three first cards I pulled combined just sort of tell me that she is sort of feeling a little betrayed. And I feel like you are also feeling a little betrayed, which is where I think all this miscommunication is coming into play. Because I feel like probably both of you have very good intentions, and probably both of you really do care about the friendship and really do care about one another. It just feels like right now there's a lack of understanding between the two of you. You're having trouble sort of building that bridge and saying like, hey, you know what, I know there's been a lot of trouble for us, but maybe we could put some of that aside. Okay, I got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So it sounds like some financial trouble definitely did come into play, and that could have been, with kind of referring to the whole cabin situation where they took a long time to kind of get back to you with payments, and that felt sort of shady to you. And it also could just be maybe that she is going through some financial hardship and some financial burden, and maybe that's something that she is having trouble kind of reaching out about and saying, like, hey, I'm really struggling in this aspect. I'm flipping some of my cards around right now because the deck, like I said, really went crazy there. And there's so many things that are upside down right now that it's hard to get a good read on what cards are trying to be pulled out. So I'm just reorganizing that. But, the Knight of Pentacles just kind of tells me that I think your friend is really struggling right now financially. And I don't know if that's the case for certain, but it's just kind of telling me this in reverse. The Knight of Pentacles is someone who doesn't feel like they have much stability right now by way of finances. So it really could be any number of things that she's going through. With the car accident that she was just saying, that's really scary. She could be dealing with different kinds of insurances, different kinds of legal matters in that sense. But what this card tells me is that your friend is definitely struggling with kind of this realistic realm of things, sort of this kind of real life matters involving finances, involving legal systems, involving, medical stuff. And all of that could be really burdening her right now or really causing her a lot of trouble. So when you're approaching this situation, I just want you to think about that. And think about, the ways that we are all struggling and just try and have a little bit of understanding and compassion. And I think you definitely do. I think just reaching out and saying like, hey, I really want to get some insight on what's going on in this situation. I mean, it's really obvious that you do care about this person and that you do want to mend things and make things work. But it seems like right now she's just really struggling and has been. And it seems like you really are too. So I guess I would just invite the both of you, hopefully this kind of, in an energy sense, will make it to her as well. I would invite the both of you to just have a little bit of compassion for what the other is going through. And I think it's really easy to place the blame and be like, oh, you're the reason why this friendship is struggling, or you're the reason why this friendship is struggling. But at the end of the day, we both really have to, well, all of us, I say we both as if I am you guys, but we all really have to try and have some understanding and some compassion for what our loved ones are going through. So yeah, that's kind of just something that I'm getting from the cards that I have so far. We're going to continue to pull here, kind of see what we get. Gosh, these cards are really flipping upside down and all over everywhere. I think I got them all worked out now, so we'll shuffle a little more. Spirit, let's get a little more insight on this situation that Spencer is going through with her friend. Kind of give us a little bit of background or a little bit of evidence that maybe we should work this situation out. Give us a little bit of clarity on whether or not this needs space or whether this needs direct action. Because I think that's kind of what maybe it comes down to, is like, oh, do I give this time? Do I take a step back? Or do I need to immediately put in effort and action to see what is needed? Okay. So I have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. And the Two of Pentacles is kind of like a union card. So when I see this card in reverse, I definitely see, some rocky terrain, some rough stuff ahead of you guys as far as working out these issues that you've been having. It definitely doesn't look like that's going to be an easy thing, but I think you already knew that. You already knew going into this that there were problems that you want to resolve or understand better, which is why, you wanted this reading. But what the cards are telling me is just that it's not looking like it's going to be an easy fix. It's going to take work on both of your parts. So next I have the Two of Swords, which is kind of all about the logistics of the situation. As you can see, this person is blindfolded. So this kind of just tells me that both of you have your defenses up and both of you are having a really hard time kind of unveiling what it is that is really the problem. Both of you are sort of blinded in this sense of what you should do or what kind of clarity you can come to about what the actual problem is. So it sounds like, with this Three of Swords, there are a lot of outside factors, a lot of outside parties, third parties that kind of contributed to the situation going bad or the situation being in a place of unrest. But what this tells me is that you're both feeling that. You're both feeling this sense of loss within the friendship, and you're both feeling this sense of kind of just misunderstanding when it comes to knowing what it is that actually happened and what it is that actually went wrong and what it is that you guys are supposed to do about it. Next I have the Lovers in reverse, which just talks about essentially right now it sort of feels like you're both feeling like you've lost the friendship, and I think that you're both feeling like you don't necessarily want that, but I'm not for sure right now if, not to be too much of a negative Nancy here, but when I see this card in reverse, it just kind of says, like, Spirit is unsure of whether or not this can be mended. or whether it would be best to just kind of cut those losses and say, you know what, I tried my best, but maybe this friendship overall was not a fated experience. Maybe overall it wasn't meant to be. You know, sometimes people come in and out of our lives at different times, and they teach us things about ourselves, and they teach us things about our paths. And it's not always meant to last forever. And that's not to say that you should cancel this person or that you guys will never be friends again. It is sort of just what I'm getting and gathering is that maybe some space is kind of the best route right now, the best option, which it feels like that space has kind of been created for the both of you anyway, since you haven't been able to connect. You haven't been able to find a common ground. So yeah, let's see what else we've got here. Let's get a couple of clarifying cards here. Abe, say hi. What sort of action should Spencer take in her current situation with her friend? What sort of movement or motion or work can Spencer do to get a little bit of relief from this, whether it is in coming to some sort of resolve or whether it is just kind of coming to peace with the terms of how things are right now? Okay. So I have the Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords here as clarifiers to your action. So what I really see is just you kind of spending some time focusing on yourself and getting your stuff together. Because I think when we are in situations ourselves where we're really struggling or where we are having trouble, it's really hard to make things work and bring things together with the people we love and the people we care about. Because at the end of the day, truthfully, like, we have to really get right with ourselves and be on good terms with ourselves and our situations before we can reach out to other people and say, hey, I feel like I'm in a good place to help you or a good place to support you. So what this card really just tells me is that you have a lot of your own problems that you need to be focusing on right now, and a lot of your own life situations and internal dialogue and internal family that you need to be taking care of right now. And hey, stop it. Sorry about that. And as much as you want to help or support this person, what Spirit is really telling me here with the Nine of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords is that you have a lot of your own stuff that you need to be fighting for, and working on. And I know that's kind of not necessarily what we want to hear when we're trying to mend our relationships with others. But truthfully, I'm just getting this whole kind of energy and whole kind of vibe that there is some inner work that you need to do before you can really be in a good place to help your friend or be in a good place to be of support for your friend. And I know that kind of sounds like a cliche, like, oh, you have to love yourself first before you can give other people love. But I think there's a lot of truth behind that. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't offer people help and you can't offer people love and support if you don't have any to offer. And I'm not saying that you don't have any to offer, because I know you have a lot to offer. But I think, from what I'm hearing from you and from what I'm getting from the cards, it just sounds like there's a lot of focus that you need to spend looking inward before you can really mend this situation. Okay, so I'm seeing the Eight of Rods in reverse here. So as far as action goes, it just sort of feels like some space is what is needed right now. I think kind of taking a break from kind of mulling over this situation and taking a break to kind of just look inward and say, hey, I feel like I've done all that I can do for this person right now. I have the Tower next, which just talks about, a big falling down or a big explosion, a big sort of, everything has to really go bad between the two of you in this relationship. And it sounds like that is kind of what's happening. There's going to be a big breakdown. a big sort of blowing up or a big sort of sense of loss where you feel like you've lost this person, they feel like they've lost you. And then I have the Six of Cups in reverse, which talks to me about eventually all of these emotions and all of this buildup that has happened and this sense of loss is going to come together, and you guys are going to have this emotional reunion where you both kind of have a heart to heart and just say like, hey, this is really what's going on for me. Because the Six of Cups, you know, what you see is two people here with all of these cups of flowers, full and kind of very lively. But in reverse, it tells me that these things are pouring out. So I think really what I'm gathering here is that a little point of rest is needed. But then after that point of rest, I think you guys could plan a time to come together, you know, get together in person. And, okay, I have the Eight of Cups here, upright, which is sort of, you know, more emotions. The cups are all about the emotions, the heart, the feelings. So I think a time where you guys come together, and not through texting. There are so many miscommunications and misreadings that can happen via text message and in writing. So it really looks like you guys need to come together, if you so choose, to want to work on this friendship, which it looks like there's a lot of emotion and a lot involved in this friendship. Like I said, you guys obviously really both care about one another. So I think coming together, planning a time where you guys can both sit down and really kind of look at all this emotion that's been built up, pour it out, kind of start again with the Eight of Cups. You're getting a lot of these even numbers, a lot of twos, a lot of eights, sixes. So there's a lot of balance that needs to be restored, is what all of these even numbers are telling me. And this Eight of Cups sort of is just like, as this person, as you can see, has their back turned on the situation. So there's been a lot of emotion and a lot going on within the situation that you, or maybe even the other party, it sounds like, has had their back turned on, which is easy to do when you are struggling. The Three of Pentacles in reverse here just tells me that the issues of money and that sort of stuff can be really arbitrary. I know that money is important. We all need money to survive. But it's kind of telling me the way that her friends treated you and the way that they acted, though they are her friends, that doesn't really represent her. And sometimes we surround ourselves with people that aren't the best. And maybe she's kind of coming to this realization or understanding that her friends did treat you like shit. And I don't know if she ever apologized for that or not. But just understand that she doesn't have total or any control over really how those people acted to you, and your generosity and your kindness in that situation was taken advantage of, and it's not fair, but it's also not your friend's fault at the end of the day. So here I have the Knight of Swords at the end of the little kind of clarification that we just did there. And so what that tells me is that you're still in this. You're still willing to fight for this friendship. And it feels like this person is too. It feels like you both, for lack of better term, have, you know, lost a little bit of sleep over this. It's been a point of unrest for both of you. It's been something that has been troublesome and hurtful for the both of you. So, yeah, I have the Two of Rods here in reverse, which is just a little bit more of that confirmation about the unrest, confirmation about your thoughts and your feelings and your actions have been twisted up on both sides because you guys aren't for sure exactly what it is that went wrong. There are all these different aspects of it. You know, there's your perspective of it, but there's also her perspective of it, which is a totally different perspective and a totally different way of looking at it. And without hearing from her, you know, what she feels transpired or what she feels has gone on, it's hard for me to say exactly. I can't place the blame on either of you, and I'm not trying to. I don't think anyone's completely at fault here. I think everyone has made mistakes and everyone has miscommunicated. Everyone has been misunderstood. The both of you have things that you've done right, things that you've done wrong, and things that you want to sort out and work through. I've got the Eight of Swords here upright, which is a little bit more of a confirmation that is similar to a card that we had before. Let me go back and find it. Sorry, I've gone through so many cards here. Very similar to the Two of Swords, where it's just like your thoughts have been very unclear. Both of these are blindfolded. So this really just kind of confirms for me that there's so much about the situation that the two of you are having a hard time understanding, or really not being able to come to terms with where exactly you went wrong or what exactly it was that happened. And then I have the Hanged Man, which is very much so just like feeling as if you're at a sense of loss, feeling as if you're at a place where, you know, like as you said, you really just aren't sure what to do or why things have panned out this way. So that's kind of, I want to say I wish that this reading was like joyful and helpful, but really the cards are just talking to me about sort of the trouble that this has been for you. So right now I'm shuffling. I want to get some positive notes, some kind of things to look forward to or things to be happy about in this situation, if we can, Spirit, please. Because right now there's just been a lot of unrest, a lot of confusion on both ends, which we want to come to some conclusions here. We want to find ways to fix this or to bring this back together if we can. Which that's not always the case. Sometimes, like I said, you just have to cut your losses and kind of realize that, you know, though you guys are both good people, maybe you weren't meant to have a long-term friendship. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying if that is the case, sometimes you just have to accept that. 26 minutes we were at already. This goes by really fast. All right, so I have the Magician in reverse here. This just talks to me about you sort of feeling as if your magic has been lost on this situation, where your usual charm and your usual sense of being able to mend situations and your usual sense of being able to get people to understand your perspective or get people to understand how much you really do care, that's kind of been lost on this situation. The Five of Cups here, upright, is a lot of spilled emotion. So it does feel like you have poured a lot of yourself into this. And that maybe that hasn't gone very far for you. Maybe this person, as much as they say they care about your friendship and, you know, want to be friends, maybe they're just at a point right now where Ten of Rods in reverse, they're struggling so much with all that they have going on that they're not in a point where they're willing to take responsibility for their own poor actions. Yeah, and that's just kind of what I've got here. The Hermit in reverse sort of tells me that all of your attempts to reach out and all of your attempts to kind of show up in the ways that you know how have not been successful, which I think you already knew, which is obvious. I think whatever you decide to do, I'll support you in, and the universe will support you in. But what the cards have told me today, the Star, what the cards have told me today for you is that you need to take some time for yourself. You need to step outside of this situation for a while and just kind of think about your own sense of self. Think about your own struggles that you're going through and realize that you can't help this person understand that you want to be there for them. What the Star tells me is that fate will eventually bring this back together if it is meant to be. If the friendship is meant to last and if the friendship is meant to continue, after you take that time away of reflection, it will all come back together and it will all work itself out if it's meant to. So I hope that was a little helpful. Like I said, thank you so much for purchasing a reading. It's been a while since I've done one, so I'm happy to be getting back into it. If you have any further questions or you just want to talk, you know I'm always here. But yeah, I hope that you're doing okay otherwise, and I'm wishing you the very best. Mwah. Bye.